Hi, my name is Jared Ludlow, Publications Director at the BYU Religious Studies Center, your weekly resource for gospel scholarship. Today we'll talk about some resources related to the Come Follow Me reading for May 30th through June 5th, various chapters in the book of Judges. And again, the Religious Studies Center doesn't have specific articles breaking down the book of Judges. So we're going to highlight an article by Spencer J. Condy, a former general authority and actually a former religion professor at BYU before being called as a general authority. It's called I Will Write My Law in Their Hearts, and it comes from a Sperry Symposium presentation. At the beginning of this talk, he addresses the question, well, why study the Old Testament when we have all this restoration scripture? Why not just focus on the Book of Mormon and Doctrine and Covenants and things like that? And he brings out 5 reasons why the Old Testament should be important for Latter-day Saints. I think it's a good reminder as we're in the middle of our Come Follow Me year. The first is that section 1 of the Doctrine and Covenants, often called the preface, has 60 footnote references to 21 different Old Testament books. So obviously the Lord and those studying this revelation see a lot of connection with Old Testament passages. The second example he gives is the brass plates at the beginning of the Book of Mormon. All the effort and sacrifice that Lehi and his sons made in order to retrieve and to carry these brass plates with them so that they could have this record, and how important it became for them in their subsequent worship of the Lord. The third is Moroni's visit to Joseph Smith as part of the unfolding of the Restoration, where Moroni quotes from Malachi, from Isaiah, and from Joel, and shows how these prophecies from the Old Testament have relevance to what was then unfolding with the Restoration. He likens that somewhat to the fourth example, Jesus' post-resurrection visit to the Nephites, where again Jesus is quoting from Old Testament scripture, such as Isaiah and Malachi. In fact, he even commands the people to search the words of Isaiah because of their importance to them. And Jesus also taught the principle that all scriptures are in one. And that's really how we should approach our standard works, so that they all should complement each other and build upon each other. And we shouldn't just be exclusive to one book of scripture. And lastly, he gives the example of the Book of Mormon title page that talks about all the great things that God has done for their people. And that's not just in the Book of Mormon area or time period, but also before Lehi and others. And it's a reminder also of the covenants that God has made. And so that's one of the themes that Elder Condy then picks up for the rest of his article, the importance of covenants and what we can learn from the Old Testament about covenants. He also talks about symbols, patterns, the tabernacle, later the temple. And so all of these things are deeply important to our study of the Old Testament and relevance to our continued desires to stay on the covenant path, to understand the temple better, the symbolism, and so forth. And one of the specific examples he gives that's related to the book of Judges is he talks a little bit about the story of Gideon and some of the symbolism there in that experience that Gideon had.